Welcome back. This is Jeff Byers, and this is Annie 258, and this is Module 10. We're creating original assets for the sci-fi level. And this week we'll just knock it right out and say that this is the part 3 of a 4-part series. So we have 4 weeks now, and we've got to do a lot. This is gonna be a week that you don't want to start too late, because just a lot of things to do. So this is part 3 of a 4-part series. You're going to continue on from module 8 and 9 using the same scene as you did before, and this time you're going to create some sci-fi modular assets. You're going to create 4 sci-fi modular assets. You're going to model them, you're going to UV map them, and you're going to texture them. Now again, keep in mind that we only have 1 week to do this, so I would recommend that you spend probably try to get 2 or 3 done modeling, the pieces, and that's very doable. A lot of you are very quick, very fast modelers, and then UV mapping, just try to give me the best quality you can and go as fast as you possibly can as far as that goes. 4 modular pieces. We want them to be bigger than about the size of the last time we did the assets for our courtyard. You're going to do the same thing, same scale of assets for this one, and I give you quite a few examples that just kind of help you out if you're not quite sure what to create or what to make. And some of them are very fast and easy to create. Most of the time you're going to spend is on texturing, so just keep that in mind. Modeling will be a breeze for you guys. It's the hard part will be creating the textures and stuff. But Substance Painter does a really great job helping with that. So basically we need to have 4 original sci-fi props. We need to have construction sheets for every one of those, just like we did with our courtyard. And we're going to need to do, instead of set dressing, we're going to replace our BSPs for 2 rooms. So I need BSP replacement with modular pieces for 2 of your sci-fi rooms, and you can pick whichever ones you want. So after module 10, when you turn those 2 in, you should have 6 rooms completed. So the only thing you have left, for module 11 is 2 more rooms, finish up the hallways if you have any, and then set dress with your props that you created for module 10, and get the lighting completed, and you're good to go. I do want to have a 30-second plus, however long it takes you to get through and through your level. I want you to do a gameplay recording of you playing your game. Okay, and you can see my course assignment. Okay, keep that in mind that you're going to be replacing. So you're going to creating 4 original props. So this is going to be a busy week, and you're going to be replacing 2 modular rooms. Okay, you're going to be replacing 2 BSP prototype rooms with modular assets. Okay, let me be very clear. We're not going to have the BSP anymore. The BSP is for you to game test for scale and playability, and then we replace the BSPs with sci-fi. So it's going to be different. It's a little different from our courtyard, where I allowed you to do a BSP and throw textures on there. Okay, so now we're actually replacing the BSPs with more detailed objects, to make it look much nicer. Alright, so here's an example of maybe 5 or 6 pieces put together. Now I know this is one piece, but you could have the monitor as one asset, and you could have the desk as one asset, and you could break it up in pieces and do those pieces and put them together like this. This was just one example of an asset that I found. And we've got all, kind of takes you through where do you find your stuff. We've got 3 right now on the modular, on the marketplace, Unreal Marketplace, so you can pull from those. Again, this other stuff is just redundant from last time. You can read the course assignment again, and then the course assignment lecture video tutorials. There isn't a whole lot of lecturing here. It's basically you just go through all this stuff and make sure that you understand that we need to have 4. And these are just examples of what other people's work that I found online that you guys can just look at and go, wow, okay, I'd like to do a chair. That sounds like a good idea, or a table. That's pretty easy to do, and a desk. That's pretty easy to do. I don't want you guys, or a crate. Some of you guys already have a crate, so that you could pull that in if it looks good. If it needs to be a sci-fi crate, not a wooden crate. I want a sci-fi crate, something that looks sci-fi. If you don't have one, then you'll need to create one. Okay, here's some more objects that you can build. Okay, props. And then there's the kind of example of the model sheet. And I actually have my Sci-Fi Create tutorial. Those of you that are interested in going through that, you can. It takes you through the whole entire process. And of course, you can do that yourself. If you guys are, most of you guys are. Very few times do I have students that have no idea how to model or texture, or they're actually taking the ANI 150 class at the same time. Then you should be good to go. Okay, but I take you through. I got these videos. Just skip these videos if you're comfortable with modeling and texturing and all that stuff. Understand we're going to have another quiz over the view bar of the UV editor, and you need to just to kind of. I just have this up here to remind you that you need to replace. Do a replacement of your BSPs with sci-fi modular assets. Okay, you can obviously, there's a huge difference between what a BSP room looks like and what this looks like. This is much more detailed because you're using assets that are modular that can be put together just like like Legos, and it just looks so much nicer and more polished. And that's what I'm looking for your scenes. And these are just examples of 2 rooms. Okay, one is a mess hall and one's a med lab. And then how am I going to grade you? Well, I'm going to grade you for modeling and texturing 4 original props, assets, and giving me 4 construction, model and construction sheets. Okay, and so that's worth 20 points. And then the other 20 points is worth when you finish up 2 interior rooms. Now, you guys can figure this out, that if you're missing one model, basically 4 divided by 20, right, is 5. So you'll have 5. If you only turn in 3 modeled and textured original props, then you take 5 points off. Now if you just give me basically modeled, okay, and not the texture, okay, I divide that 5 in half, so it's 2.5 points off. So it's pretty simple to figure this out, what I'm going to take points off without having to break everything down, And here's another one. You need to replace 2 interior rooms, and I need the 30-second sequence. So get those 2. If you only do 1 room, then it's going to be about 7 points off. Okay, just about that. It's a little different because we have 3 things that I'm grading you on. I'm grading you on your sequence, recording place sequence, and the 2 rooms. Okay? So there's a little less, if it's one of those kind of things that you kind of got to look at that, and hopefully we'll just consider that if you can get everything done, great. This is the biggest one right here. This can cost you the most if you don't get that done. Again, if you don't get one of these done, I divide 3 by 20, and that's kind of where I come up with if you only give me 1 room. Okay, and then I take those points off. Okay, and that you can still give me the 30 plus. That's pretty easy to do. takes a little bit of your time, but that's not too hard to do. Make sure you guys are giving me compressed videos. I had some people giving me like ridiculously like 2 gigs, but actually only like a gig's worth of video stuff, so don't do that. Plus you won't be able to upload. I think you can only upload the most is a gig, so keep that in mind. Make sure your first and last name is on every file. I'm starting to see some of you not do that, and a lot of things get separated when I'm trying to grade, so if that happens, I might start taking points off for those of you that are just not putting your name on anything. Okay. Deliverables, again, I try to be as sometimes I miss something, and let me know if I do, but I try to be as specific as possible. So if I'm missing something, let me know, but I think everything's in there. Deliverables, you turned in your 4 model and texture construction sheets. Okay, I don't necessarily need to have much more than that. And then of course your scene file, you can have all 4 of your objects in one scene file. I don't need the textures. That's why you're giving me a construction worksheet. Okay, I don't need all your textures or anything like that. The only reason why I ask for the MB file, some of you are probably wondering that if I'm getting the construction sheet, is sometimes I get somebody that doesn't give me the model construction sheet but gives me the MB file. Well, I can go ahead and at least grade them for their modeling. Now of course I won't have any texturing, and that will be points off, but at least they can get some points on that. Okay. Alright, I need your screenshots of the 2 interior BSP rooms where you've replaced the floor, ceiling, and walls with texture modular sci-fi assets. Okay, I'll need to have 8 screenshots total. Make sure you hit the G key for game mode and F11. And then of course when you're playing your game, I need a recording gameplay of a first-person player. Some of you are giving me these floating around navigation level, which works. I mean, I haven't counted anybody off yet, but it's more fun to see you running around or walking around in your level as a first-person player. Okay, so it gives me a better sense of how your level looks. And some of you needed to scale your levels up or down because of my critique. Hopefully you did that. I'll be looking for that. Okay. So again, your folder structure, you guys can read this. Nothing's really has changed too much, so you're pretty used to how I want you to turn stuff in. This is just an example of a construction model and texture worksheet, and this is just an example from a top-down view of what you have replaced with your modular assets. Now obviously your modular assets, you can only do so much with them, so do the best you can. I know sometimes when you're putting Legos together and you have a prototype and you're trying to get them to fit within the prototype, sometimes they're going to be maybe a little bit bigger. I always go bigger than smaller. Okay, so if you have a ground grid unit, okay, and it's not quite fitting within your BSP, always go a little bit bigger than smaller. Okay, because your BSP, when you do a game test and play your game, your level, most of the rooms that I saw are a little bit too small, and then there are some students that went way too big for the rooms, and it's going to take you forever. Now just remember though, if you get one wall done and you like it, make sure you kind of break it up a little bit so it doesn't look so repeated with other module pieces. But what you can do is you can create one wall and duplicate it over and swing it over to the other side. I'm sure you guys are doing that. But then you want to break that wall up by just kind of replacing module pieces so they don't look exactly the same. You don't want every wall to look the same. Now I'm not going to count you off, but I know you guys get kind of in a rush sometimes, but try to take your time and just kind of replace and make it look a little bit irregular instead of being exactly all the same walls. Okay? Right. And so here's kind of an example that I found of just one room that that a student, or yeah, looks like a student somewhere, had done. Okay? Which is kind of cool. And they actually created all their own modular pieces, which we just don't have time for. We have to find them and replace them. So eventually, in NE150, I'm actually having you guys in NE150 actually create all the modular pieces. Now, if you've had me in class, this is the first year I've done it, so I probably don't have anybody in here that has had me in class for NE150, but if you have, then you can feel free to use those modular pieces that we created, and you can have your own original. It'll be all you as far as the rooms and the modular pieces go, putting together, and create your own original level. Okay? Alright guys, have a great week. That's about it. If you have any questions or anything or concerns, please email me at jbyers3@jcc.edu. Otherwise, have a great week, and I'll see you guys in Module 11.